Hey, what's up? It's Joey Little, your social little man here again. These are almost daily. These are awesome. I love the interaction that I'm getting through the Facebook Live, loving the emails and the messages that I get, those of you listening to the podcast on SoundCloud. Now also on YouTube, going to LinkedIn. It's just exponentially going everywhere. And a lot of great feedback on these. And we are currently looking for a strategy of how we can start bringing in other people to the Facebook Lives, podcasts, et cetera, et cetera. Hey, what's up, Kenneth? Kenny Lindrum, I got two Kins in here with an I with an E. What's up? So if you're listening to the podcast, you're confused how this goes down, your first time maybe checking this out, I've got Facebook Live rolling right now that I'm talking to the camera, and there is a plethora of people that come in to listen, also give their 2 cents, because the comments really kind of fuel how this Facebook Live goes. I don't know if this needs a name or whatever it is, because we're looking for an intro to the podcast. Should we make it fancy, whatever it is? But right now it's just really Facebook Live with yours truly, a social little man. You can follow me on Twitter. And if you want to follow the Facebook Lives, you can go to facebook.com/social little man. That's my personal Facebook account. And just do a little follow or whatever. And we'll get this going. So it's like a community kind of talk. Lauren coming in because the topic today is trolls. And Lauren says, when I troll people, I feel like I say ridiculous stuff, and I normally wouldn't say it if I was being serious. That's absolutely true. That is what an internet troll is. It's a harsh word, but it has to be a harsh word. First of all, what we're going to talk about is what is an internet troll. Two, why are there internet trolls? Three, how can you tell the difference between an internet troll and actually a legitimate upset customer with goods and services that they purchased from you? Because a lot of times internet trolls, we'll get into that. Let's talk about what an internet troll is in the first place. An internet troll, and I've got 5 things that I wrote down here. I took some from HubSpot and also from Social Media Today. But I've got 5 things that I wrote down here to help you identify what an internet troll is. So if you're dealing with a business online or even your own stuff, a personal thing, and you get people on there that look like they're trying to get an emotional response from you due to a comment or something that they've said, that's leading down the path that this is absolutely an internet troll. And these people online can be an absolute nuisance to somebody who's trying to really create a great online reputation. You get a troll, it's almost like a virus. It just kind of goes crazy. So first, if you notice that the person is commenting or is involved in what you're saying is trying to evoke an emotional response, it's number one, they may be a troll. This may be somebody that is just trying to troll you. Number two, if it seems like they have some kind of sense of entitlement, that you need to, that it seems like the world is revolving around them at that moment in your feed or in your thread of comments that are coming through, that they seem like it doesn't matter what else is going on in the comment section. If it seems like it needs to focus on them and only them and what they've said to you, maybe you're not paying attention, maybe you're ignoring it, but they keep doing it and have this sense of entitlement, that is also a telltale sign that this is internet troll. This is not a legitimate upset customer. Number three, hyperbole. Just look up the word. If just things are way out of whack of the way that they're reacting, what they're saying. If you're going back to number one, if it's an emotional response, then an internet troll. If they make it personal, if it's extreme side that's making it personal, that's an internet troll. If they're trying to make it personal, if they're really, and I'm talking about going after you as the person that's running online reputation management for a company or for yourself or whatever it is. Lauren says she trolls people for their grammar. That's number 5. A really good way to seek out an internet troll, if somebody is an internet troll, is poor grammar and spelling. Now I'm kind of on the fence with that because I have poor grammar and I have poor spelling. So an internet troll basically comes down to the first thing to notice one. If they are trying to take whatever thread or whatever comment or whatever post that you've put out there, exactly. Jamie just came in. Jamie Faulkner says, example, Joey is the love child of Trump and Hillary. That's a troll. That's somebody that's trying to evoke an emotional response, change the conversation, put the focus completely on them, and thrive from that. Now, why are there internet trolls? Why do people say dumb stuff online? Not only just dumb stuff online, just emotionally wrecking type things to people online. Why would you think humanity might be a little bit further that this would not happen? There should be not as many trolls in the world as there are online. Think about it like this. I also call these the trolls set into a group that I like to refer to as keyboard warriors. Yes, keyboard warriors. What is a keyboard warrior? Now think about it. When you're driving down the road, how many times have you been driving that you have called somebody who cut you off, somebody who's driving too slow, somebody who's driving too fast, somebody who's driving reckless, somebody who's not paying attention, etc., etc.? How many times have you called those people absolutely horrible things while you're sitting in your car? I've just used words that you would never ever say to anybody else to their face. How many times has that happened? I've seen my grandmother back in the day when I was a kid say some horrible things to people that the person absolutely can't hear you. They're in a whole different vehicle. Or the finger comes up or whatever it is. How many times have you done that? I think that every single person that's watching this Facebook Live or listening to the podcast at one time in their life has done that. Now, ask yourself, would you do that if that person was standing right in front of you? When there was no cars in the way, that person was right there. Or like, give me an example. You're standing at Starbucks, you're waiting in line, and somebody just kind of rolls right in, and bumps into you and goes right into in front of you and standing in line. Most of you would say, I'd tell that son of a gun up, right? Most of you would say that, but that's not true. Most humans, especially Americans, will bitch about it behind the scenes of their friends later on. Well, I was at Starbucks. This guy thought he was all that. He just got in front of me. You won't say anything there. I've got to ask people all the time when friends of mine, when like a buddy of mine, if he's talking about he had a argument at a pub or something like that, and I'll have to say to him, did you actually say that, or did you think that you said that, or that's what you wanted to say? And most of the time, that's what I wanted to say. Now think about when you're in your car, you will say the most ridiculous, hurtful, name calling. You know, hey, what's up, Klaus? What's up from Germany? Our Mustang guy's in the house. Our Mustang German is here. The same thing has to do with the keyboard. Now, why do you have that sense of security when you're in your vehicle that you can call people that you've never met in your entire life? You can call them the most idiotic words to use to describe somebody. Lauren says, depending on what they did, I would probably bitch about it loud enough for them to hear me, but it was something small, I wouldn't say anything. Brad says, what's up from Texas? But in your car, you will call somebody C word, F word, S, whatever it is. I'm not going to repeat them here. Because you have this sense of security, that the car is almost like your armor. Like you are not, they're not going to hear you, so you're not going to get into a confrontation, but it makes you feel better to call that person a dumb son of a bitch or whatever it is. That makes you feel better. It makes you feel like you got one over on them, right? It makes you feel like you got to tell them. Sally comes in and says, this on the Facebook Live, people are awful online, but I still read the comments every single time. That's true. Trolls can be entertaining. Now think of when you're in your vehicle and you feel comfortable that you can say anything you can to other drivers if they've made you mad, right? Jill's saying, okay, does it count to say it to their face if you're sticking your head out of the window yelling at them? Cute. I doubt they can hear you, but you know they're not going to pull over. You know that this is the chance that somebody's going to pull over and confront you. Yeah, and Faulkner saying the same thing goes for Xbox Live and PSN. Absolutely. Gamers are horrible about this. Gamers are the biggest keyboard warriors I've ever met in my entire life. And 14-year-old kids can be the worst trolls and keyboard warriors. Now, think about that situation when you're in your vehicle, you can say whatever you want. That same sense of security, people get that when they're behind the screen and have a keyboard in front of them. They get the exact same security, certified keyboard warrior, because it's easy, because they feel safe, because there's not going to be a confrontation, because most websites that have some type of, the Facebook's making it different, but there's some kind of anonymity. Is that word? Did I say it right? Anonymously, you can leave comments such on Reddit or et cetera, et cetera. Even Twitter. You can set up Twitter where nobody knows who you are. Brad in Texas says, Chris and I are Google local guides and get rewarded for sharing opinions. True. Appreciate that, Brad. Thank you. But this is where the troll kind of mentality comes from. Jamie South Park is actually talking about trolls right now. That's funny. It's been on the internet forever, since my Angel Fire website from 1997. It's not just been on the internet, Sally. It's also been, if you read letters to the editor in newspapers in the past, there are people that just feel like they have this sense of security that they can say whatever they want to say without any kind of repercussions coming back to them. And a lot of people, I will tell you right now, a lot of people need attention. They want attention, and they don't know how to get attention. And you put somebody in a situation where they have like maybe some kind of introverted or a sense of social anxiety. If they're in public and they won't talk to people, or if that person does go in front of them at the line at Starbucks, they're not going to say anything because that's not their personality and puts them in an anxiety type way. But when they get home, sure enough, when they're in front of a computer screen and a keyboard, they're going to type out the most hateful type things about this person that stepped in front of them at Starbucks. And this is a very damaging thing when it comes to businesses, because they will jump on you in a heartbeat. These keyboard warriors will, and it's most of the time, I would say 99% of the time. Well, Kenny's saying, before I get my 99, there can be some repercussions. What you say on social doesn't disappear. That is true, is absolutely true. But look at these situations. I remember back a few years ago, what was his name? Gordon Ramsay has kitchen nightmares. And he went into a kitchen in Phoenix, Arizona, or in the Arizona area, or New Mexico, or something like that. And it was like a bakery, right? And the people kicked him out. They weren't paying their staff. It was a really bad situation. They ended up kicking Gordon Ramsay out. The man and the woman that owned the place just seemed like very horrible people online. They got berated on Yelp. They got berated on the reviews from people that had never ever been to their business ever entirely in the world ever. Right? They were giving them bad reviews. They were trying to destroy the business. Look at the fact of, Lizelle says, even at the workplace, people are always into other people's business, talk about what they do wrong, trolling others' actions so they feel more entitled. I'm going to finish my thought, and then I'm going to go right into that. So if I don't go into what Lizelle just said, remind me. Remember the dentist that killed the lion, that went hunting in Africa, and he killed a lion, and apparently it was the Zimbabwe's national lion. It stood for everything in their country. And did you see what happened to his business here in town? Or not here in town, but where he's from? Did you see the amount of Yelp reviews? Did you see what people did? Had never been to his business ever in the history of their lives. Never been there. But they destroyed this guy online because of their views of what he did in his personal time. Now, I'm not going to give you my views if I think he was wrong, if he was right. But I think that was wrong. I think that was absolutely wrong. Those are trolls. Those are keyboard warriors, or what we like to call, and I wish this term would become more prevalent, slacktivist. It's like an activist. You know what an activist is? Somebody who stands for a cause and actually does things, gets out of the house, goes and marches, does a sit-in, raises money, blah, blah, blah. That's an activist. A slacktivist is when somebody thinks that they're doing a good cause just from behind their keyboard or on their cell phone, right? A recent slacktivist type thing that just happened just recently was everybody, and I think that what's going on in North Dakota with the pipeline, with the Native Americans and all that, I think that's it's a big travesty that's going on up there. I need to read more into it. I'm really leaning on the side of the Native Americans. Absolutely, I think this is with the governments, but I got to read more into it. That's my opinion. Sorry, I try not to do that. But everybody was checking in to the area. All across America, even in the world, people were checking in because they thought the federal government, and if it was true or not, was monitoring who was checking in so they could arrest or they could harass whoever was at the location. And so people just around the country were checking in on Facebook because they thought they were helping. Now, was there any proof behind that actually did anything? No, there's no proof behind that. There's no proof. It was somebody had the idea and everybody else thought that they were helping, so they checked in. That's a slacktivist. If you're an activist, you are actually doing something to help out that cause. You are doing something. You're part of the clergy that's going up there and doing the sit-in. You're part of the New Zealand rugby team is getting involved now too. Sending or indigenous people of New Zealand. Getting back to what Lizelle was saying. Well, by the way, this post gets podcast gets me fired up. Trolls people who do not have the balls to say it to your face. I'm not going to read the rest of that from Jill, but you can read it in the comments. If you're listening to the podcast on the SoundCloud, you can join me at facebook.com/sociallittleman. I completely forgot my thought with Lizelle. Let me see if I can back up a little bit and see what she wrote there. Even at the workplace, people. Oh yeah. So here's another thing, and this is actual. I have to look up and give you some sources, but you know how pyromaniacs get this source of excitement from fire, right? It just any kind of fire is going to give them source of just excitement, of adrenaline. It's what they wanted to see. There's many more other things that get people excited, whether it be fetishes, but if there's something there that gets them excited and gets their adrenaline rushing, like pyromaniacs with fire, that's a problem. But if there is not a fire for a pyromaniac to get their adrenaline from, to get their love or whatever they're really gets them going, they will set a fire. And you have to be careful because these people exist when it comes to drama, when it comes to butting heads, when it comes to something like that. And they exist online and they exist in the workplace. These people strive in a world of just drama. And if there is no drama going on at that time, they will create it. Now, they may not create it where their name is involved, but they'll stir the pot. You get that? The people that stir the pot, like, they'll go to somebody else at the dealership or the business and they'll say, hey, did you hear? And then they step away. It's like lighting a fire and then they step away and they watch it. It happens online too. It happens online all the time. Some people just like to see the world burn. You just got to accept that. So when it comes to realizing who these people are online and how you can actually tell the difference between a troll, keyboard warrior, and an upset customer, it's very simplistic. Not really, but I like to say that word. It can be simplistic. You have to look for you have to look for the emotion being taken out of it. You have to look for the legitimacy of what has happened. You have to look at the victimizing that somebody online can do to themselves to make them to blow it up even bigger than it's ever been before. You can see somebody who I don't know bought something at a store and apparently maybe it was damaged, and then if you read the review or you read the comment that goes back to the company or whatever it was, and it looks like because of this item not being exactly what it was, their whole life has been destroyed. Joey, did you see what Grant Cardone said in the live video? Gary Vee wasn't going to buy the Jets. I did see that. I'm really surprised how our boy in Seattle found that, because it was like a 15-minute live video and it was said in the last 15 seconds. But I'm going to get back. Appreciate Brad. That's what we call derailing the conversation. Brad trolled JCPenney's for like 2 weeks straight. That's not what it was getting from. But do you understand this? You understand, if you have a legitimate issue with your business or your business, they're going to be very, very simplistic in what they say. They're going to be very simplistic in saying, listen, this is what I thought I was going to get, and this is what I actually got, and that sucks. And I tried to talk to management, or I didn't talk to management, and I got nothing back from them. That's going to be a legitimate upset customer. Now, if you get somebody that comes in very emotionally driven with what they are talking about when it comes to how they feel like they've gotten screwed by you or your dealership or by your company or by your business or even personally, then if there's a lot of emotion attached to that, then you've got to understand that this was probably a keyboard warrior, or this is probably a troll. Now, how do you deal with them? One, you don't get sucked in. You do not get sucked into the conversation. Don't get conversation. Two, you record everything. I'm talking screenshots. I'm talking usernames. I'm talking people that are starting to support the troll. Unless this thing's getting out like a wildfire. If you get into a wildfire with your business online with something, you need to reach out to a good PR person. You need to reach out, hit me a message or something like that. I'll get you hooked up with some of the best in the business. And Chris says they just want something for free. This is the problem, Chris, that I think a lot of businesses have, is they think that most of the complaints they get online, most of the negativity that they get online, I would say 99 to almost 100% of it, that most businesses think that it's some kind of trolling customer that's trying to get something for free, which is not how it is. It's just not how it is. Most customers, we have a whole new window now, a whole new medium. It's not new. It's been around for a while now. Internet reviews, the internet, the social medias, all that good stuffs is, to quote Eric Qualman, the author of Socialnomics, it is word of mouth on steroids. It just is. You have an opportunity. Exactly, Brad. Brad just cut me off. You have an opportunity to make a customer for life. You just do. Look at the logistics of what is coming in and what the complaint is. And just remember, keyboard warriors. Just remember trolls. Just remember that people will say things in their cars that they would never say to your face. Record everything. And recording, I'm not talking about making videos or recording audio. I'm talking about screenshots. Screenshot everything that somebody says. Screenshot. If you're not screenshotting every single review that you have coming in and putting them in a folder, in your computer, so it's there, because customers can go back and delete stuff. The internet doesn't necessarily mean that it's there forever. I saw that came through earlier, that it's there forever. It's not necessarily true. It's there forever for the back end. I mean, if whatever Facebook or Snapchat or Instagram or Yelp or whoever wants to go in the back end and find that information, they can. But are they really going to do that for you? No. That's why you got to. That's why you got to screenshot everything. That's got to record everything. That's why you got to keep a dossier of customers and what they say online. Chris and Brad trolling me right now, just talking about JCPenney and getting free pants for trolling the JCPenney's. There's been many times that I've reached out to businesses because I have the philosophy that if you get negative complaints about your businesses or business, if you get a legitimate negative complaint, it's because that customer cares. It's because they do give a shit. That's what it is. It's because they do care and they want you to know, right? And that's mixed in with they also want you to fix their situation. So there wasn't an example, and I'll tell you how the other side of the coin can completely screw things up. This is a funny story. So if you're still with me, 22 minutes into this, I appreciate it. This will be the last story and tell you now how not to handle this. I probably about 5 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, I had a bad experience at a local. It's always about casinos here, but this time, Kim, don't worry about it. I'm not talking about the Prairie Man Casino up by my hometown. I'm talking about the Hollywood Casino here in Kansas City. I took somebody there for dinner. The dinner didn't turn out as well as it should. It was not good. It was misrepresented. I asked to talk to a manager. They told me that there are no managers on duty, that if I had a complaint, I can go online, I could do blah, 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 and I could send it in that way. Okay, so I did that. I went online and I sent in my complaint, but at the same time, then I made a Facebook post. Sorry, Kim, it was not Prairie Man, Hollywood Casino. I made a Facebook post talking about how the dinner I had at Hollywood Casino was not up to par. By the way, they would not give me my money back. If I wanted my money, we didn't eat anything. We were misrepresented what the food was going to be. When we went to go eat, we were misrepresented. And so I said, okay, we're not going to eat anything. We'll just take our money back. We're going to go somewhere else. They would not give me my money back. And they told me that if I wanted to ask for my money back or to talk to a manager, it was not so Hollywood. No, it wasn't Lizelle. That I would have to go online to their website and fill out this form. So I did that. And then I went on Facebook and I typed in about my negative experience with Hollywood Casino. And I talked about how they wouldn't give me my money, but et cetera, et cetera. And my friends, my network chimed in. And I put this directly on Hollywood Casino's Facebook page. I didn't do it away from them. If I'm going to have a conversation about a business, I'm gonna tag them in and I'm gonna let them have their say. I'm gonna let them come back and say, hey, listen, hey, you son of a bitch, we tried to give you your money back, but you were running your mouth and you were so wanting more money. I mean, that's not what happened, but I want to give them their opportunity to give their 2 cents of what happened in the situation, which they didn't. So the comments started piling up. I mean, piling up. I think we were 40 comments into it. And a lot of you that are logged in right now, watching the Facebook Live or maybe listening to the podcast, remember this situation. Hollywood Casino did not respond. But in the midst of all this supportive from my network saying, yeah, maybe Hollywood Casino screwed up, there was one person that came out and said, I hate people like you. I'm not quoting you. This is very generalized. I hate people like you complaining online because they want to get something for free. That's what it said. Well, this person did not know that I ran a internet marketing team for a company, did not know that we did online reputation management, review building, blah, blah, blah. We knew everything about it. So my team jumped on this person, didn't publicly, but we looked the name up. We found out the person on Facebook only had the account for approximately 2 days. They had 3 friends. They said that they went to the University of Georgia. They had a picture, they had a name, and that was not much more on there. So it looked like a fake account. taking that picture and doing a reverse Google search, we found out that that picture of this girl who commented, which by the way, I responded back with, I just want to get my money back, blah, blah, blah. Plus I want to let other people know my experience. Wrote back again, like all you're trying to do is get something for free. Just kind of repeated themselves. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, my team finds out that this picture that this person is using on Facebook actually belongs to a female runner blogger in Boston, Massachusetts, when this person said they were in Georgia, and matched it to a picture in a reverse Google image search, and found that she was not who she thought she was, or who she said she was. So then we found a Twitter account for the actual person that owned the picture, who that was, this blogger, this runner in Boston, Massachusetts. And I tweeted her and I said, hey, listen, somebody is using your picture on Facebook and in fact is arguing with me right now with a company, and tweeted her. Within 10 minutes, she tweeted me back and she was furious. And I also included Hollywood Casino. It looked the only pages that this fake profile liked on Facebook was Hollywood casinos around the country. So we determined, and we put it out there, that somebody had created, and there's no slander here. We didn't say it was Hollywood Casino, but by this time, I called and I said, I don't appreciate this. I think that somebody either maliciously against what your policy has created a fake profile online to try to drive me down, to tell me that I'm full of crap, that's going to, try to escalate this in a different direction. And Hollywood Casino got caught with their pants down. And apologized for it so much. The VP of whatever services or something for Hollywood Casino called me, and I wasn't trolling him. I just wanted to get my opinion across that I did not get good service. I didn't get my money back. I did get my money back. They did offer to give me vouchers for even more food and experience at Hollywood Casino, and I will tell you right now, I turned all of that down. The only thing I got back from them was the original money that I spent to get dinner that was misrepresented, and that's all I took. So was I one of those people that was looking for something for free? Absolutely not. So I don't know what that has to do with this conversation with trolls and keyboard warriors, but it can go on both ways. Don't be a keyboard warrior or a troll on the business side. Don't troll people. Don't think about creating fake accounts. Don't try to delete reviews. Don't do any of that. Respond. Be human. Know that the other person on the other line is human, and give customer feedback or give customer service that is going to create maybe a customer for life. Hollywood Casino had that absolute opportunity to do that. I've never been back to the Hollywood Casino here in Kansas City since that moment. This is 4 or 5 years ago. I've not been back. Have I thought about going back? Absolutely. Have I been to other casinos? Absolutely. But they don't get my business anymore. But they had an opportunity to change this around. Can you imagine if Hollywood Casino would have jumped into my conversation and said, hey, listen, we really apologize for what happened to you at our restaurant. It's not our policy to let a customer leave angry or disappointed. We would love to give your money back. We would also like to extend whatever they offered me later on. Too late. I wouldn't have taken it. But you have that opportunity to make a customer for life. So think about it. Don't be a troll. How to deal with trolls. And then we can talk about, in the future, trolls in your personal life. Especially those that are out there, you guys that are dating, that are on dating websites and things like that. We're going to talk about trolls in your real life. So, thanks a lot. I'm Joey Little. It's Friday. It's Kansas City, having a good day. And so, Facebook Live video was sponsored by Hollywood Casino, Kansas City. That is trolling. Have a great day. Keep smiling.